and welcome back to Anime-chan, where today we're going to be looking at my reaction highlights and review of One Piece episodes 17 and 18. Before we get started, I just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Adam Cummins, aka Lord Cypher, aka the Pun King or Pun Lord. Whatever you want to call it, you are number one at making puns. Thank you so much for being a patron and for supporting my work in so many ways. I really miss live streams and I miss hanging out with you and everyone in those live streams, but I hope I can get started with those again soon. To everyone else who is here to enjoy One Piece, it's thanks to patrons like Adam that I can spend so much time doing videos in the first place, so thank you so much. Without further ado, let's jump into the reaction highlights. Did he just say that to Kuro? Shakushi has too many useless movements. Fuck, Luffy! Yeah! Fuck, realize it by now! Help him! That's right, the branch was in my way. Good job. Look, even they're working together from the get-go. They just get each other. Nani? No, they've realized it. They have to cheer for you. Is it over now? Because I don't want to cheer prematurely. Oh.
Monkey D. Luffy.
He's starting to build a name. Yes! Yes! Now you better run. Oh. Oh, he kept face until they couldn't see him anymore. Doesn't have to be. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with not telling them. I understand his reasoning, but it might create some panic, but fuck, they maybe need some panic to put up their defenses. They can't forever be protected by you. Oh. Oh, I like that. I like that he says, thanks to this incident. Like, something so bad happened And it's like, he doesn't wish it didn't happen. He says, thanks to it that happened, I've decided upon something. So I like it when people, after something's already happened, you don't wish for bad things to happen, but after it's already happened, you look on the bright side and say, well, what did this teach me? What did I learn from this? What good came out of this? I really like that.
5年前、お前らがまだ4歳だった頃に結成したこのウソップ海賊団、最大にして最高の戦いを乗り切ったんだ。俺は本物の海賊になるんだ。だから俺はこの村を出る。理由はただ一つ。
それも嘘なんでしょ。そんなの急すぎるし、キャプテンこの村大好きじゃないですか。ウソップ海賊団は行くな、キャプテン。
この場所覚えてるか？
Flashback? Show me a flashback of young Usopp.
お
Aww.
兄ちゃん。
今日からお前らもウソップ海賊団だ。
Yeah.
じゃなんだ。じゃない。
Hey, Jedi.
ドラゴンだ。お客しろ。小麦殺し。
すっげえキャプテン。そんな思い出話聞きたくないよ。そうだ、聞きたくなんかない。なんだよキャプテンらしくない。
お前らの野望は何だ？
酒場を経営することです。バイクの棟梁になることです。
ここに誓え。今日限りをもってウソップ海賊団を解散する。
Oh, but they all have dreams, and he reminded them of their dreams before he left. Oh.
ここ1年の私の病気は両親を失った精神的な気落ちが原因だったので甘えてばかりはいられません。随分とお世話になりました。ありがとうございます。ぜひ受け取ってください。
この家ともお別れだ。
Do they even know you're coming with them? He's got a nice big house. She gave them a real ship? Fuck!
まずクルーガーネットによるヤードの調節に関しましては、
ダメダメ。船の説明なら私が聞くわ。いい船だな。ありがとう。踏んだり蹴ったりだな。
至れり尽くせりだな。
I thought it was the subtitles were wrong. I was like, oh, they don't mean that. And then he fixes it. Ooh.
悪いな。
やっぱり
とっとと行くことにするよ。止めるなよ。
止めません。そんな気がしてたから。
なんか。
I don't even know how to.
にとっとと行くことにするよ。止めるなよ。
すみません。楽しみにしています。
Okay. This is what's going on in my mind right now. He's gonna go, have his adventures, come back to visit her. They'll have a hot and passionate night together. And then she'll become pregnant. And he'll go again. And then a little baby Usopp will eventually be born. Has anyone written this fanfiction yet? I want to read it. Their love story. Because clearly it's not going to happen on screen. This is not that kind of anime. But I need the side story. Huh? You're not going with them?
何言ってんだ。早く乗れよ。
俺たちもう仲間だろ。
Yeah, duh!
キャプテンは俺だろうな。
Why am I laughing with him as from there?
行っちゃったな、キャプテン。ああ、でもさ、あの人たちと一緒だからちょっと安心したよ。そうそう、昔から海賊になりたいって言ってたし、村の人たちに話したら寂しがるだろうけどな。突然の話だしさ。俺、一つ考えたんだ。何を？
Now they're gonna run. Pirates are coming!
でしたね。お嬢様。私、前に村の人から彼の子供の頃の話を聞いたことがあります。彼は母親をもう亡くしているのです。
海賊が来たぞー。父ちゃんが俺たちのこと迎えに来たよ。バカなこと言うもんじゃないよ。父さんは帰ってきやしないさ。でもね、誇りに思ってるよ。バカでいい。夢なら見俺の海賊の息子だから。
Don't make that face!
海賊が来たぞー。
いつの日か海岸に現れやしないかと。
Well, pirates did come eventually. It was Luffy and them, and he did become a pirate. Maybe not the captain. Maybe. I don't know. But he did become a pirate like he said he was gonna, or that he said is. He said he is a pirate. And now he is one.
自分を迎えに来てくれるんじゃないかと。この村で両親を失ってしまった彼にとって同じ境遇に立たされたお嬢様を放ってはおけなかったのでしょう。
I love Usopp.
ウソップさんの嘘はいつも生きる楽しさを語っていた。生きろって励ましてくれていた。
そうでしたね。
私、医者になる。
おお、それは立派な目標ができましたね。
Aww. They all have dreams. The one wants to own a tavern, the one wants to be a carpenter, the one wants to be a writer. Kaya wants to be a doctor. Aww. And it's cool because her own challenge in life, that she was so sick, now she's inspired to become a doctor through Usopp and his lies. Oh, I like what it said about the villagers, said that his hopes are in his lies. Oh, and it was just like he was hoping the pirates would come and get him, and they did. I love Usopp. I get to watch another episode today.
ちょっとは人のことに関心持ってよ。
できたー。ミラン、海賊機だ。
俺たちのマークか。
どうだ、いいだろう。
海賊機は死の象徴、恐怖の象徴なんだぜ。
壁に落書きを続けて50年、絵にかけちゃ俺の右に出るもんはね。
すげえ、50年かよ。
I didn't even realize he said 50 years.
それもすげえ。ま、こんなとこかな。へえ、結構うまいじゃない。ああ、いいな。
Whoa! Good job!
これで海賊船ゴーイングメリー号の出来上がりだ。こっちでいいのか？なんかやばそうだぞ。
何？
待って。伝説の宝島よ。
聞いたことがあるぞ。
そう、海賊たちの間では有名な島よ。
Oh, this is a pretty visual.
妙な噂？
やっぱり噂は本当なのか？神の怒りか？
なんだか面白 まさかそのまさかよ。
Oh, it's so nice to see them working together. Ooh, oh, there's gonna be eyes. Those have eyes inside them, don't they? Okay, no, they're mouths.
この島のどこかに途方もない宝が眠ってると言われているのよ。今まで数多くの海賊が上陸したけれど、自分のひげがどんどん伸びていき、蛇のように首に絡まって死んだ男も。
嘘でしょ。
Uso dejo. His voice was so funny.
俺は寝る。
本当どういう神経してんのかしら。やめろよルフィ。これは
Interesting creatures.
出ていけ。お前たちはあれだろう、海賊？
そうだ。
やはり海賊か。
神様がなんでそんなこと言うの？
いいか。
なんかこいつ変だな。
なんだとこの麦わら坊主。
Is there some kind of evil, what do you call them, scientist, mad scientist that experiments on animals and joins them into one? Because that looks like a hippo gorilla. Gorillipo? Hipporilla, a panda bat, a batanda, and I saw some other shit there. I don't even know what that one was.
こいつライオンか？
Booby traps. Ooh!
動くなと言ったろ。
Oh!
そんな。
あそこだ。
That guy tried to kill you!
ピストルだわ。
Is it some tiny mad scientist?
なんだこれ。
これが神様？
あ、動いた。
Not what I was expecting.
起こせっつうの。
人間だわ。面白い。たわしか。待て。
Nee. Boing. Almost imagined a shark going. Woo.
残を払ってきたんだな。
You didn't make them?
けど宝箱に詰まった人間初めて見
You're
た
just in a treasure
箱
box.
入り息子なのかお前。
Are you a boxed what? Are you a boxed what?
初めて見たよ。
Are you a boxed son? Kakoiri musume, a sheltered daughter.
ああ、小さな頃から大切なお坊ちゃんで。なわけあるんだよ、この箱。
20年もたった一人でこの島にいるの
わ
か？
かるか、この切なさが。
バカ見て。
なんだとてめえ。
Zoro is me. With this little pink cup. A melee.
箱入り息子なのか、お前。
ああ、小さな頃から大切なお坊ちゃんで。なわけあるか。二度もさすな。壊そうとすりゃ俺の体がいかれちまうんだ。
妙にうるせえやつだな。
What a chatterbox.
しかしおめえさんたちは何者なんだ。ワンピースだと。まさか本気であのグランドラインに入るつもりじゃ。
Well,
ラ
duh.
インの海図も持ってる。
俺は以前グランドラインから逃げ帰った海賊たちを見たことがある。魂をなくした死人みてえな姿だったよ。その上ワンピースに関しては噂が噂を呼んで何が真実かもう分かりゃしねえ。大海賊時代が幕開けして24年。俺は海図はさっぱりわからん。
なんだ、同じだな。
I
私の会話じゃないわ。見つかる。俺運がいいんだ。
have good luck.
そんな自信湧くのかしら。 俺は必ず手に入れてみせるさ。
呆れた。
お前は俺と同じ顔も双子のようにそっくりだ。
どこがそっくりだっての。
わかるんだよ。
俺たち
宝探しのためなら命を懸けても惜しくねえ。その情熱が俺の人生を全て変えちまったのさ。
どうしたか今、先に行くぜ。
Gaimon. Your eyebrows have always been together if that's you.
誰か探したのかな。俺は自分の目を疑った。
Did he hide it from you?
その時だ、箱にはまったのは。いやー、このままじゃ登れねえ。抜けねえ、抜けねえよ。俺の脳裏からあの時たった一瞬見た財宝が離れることはなかった。幾度となく海賊たちがこの島を探しに来たが、あれは俺のだ。
間違いない。それはおっさんのだ。
ガイモンさん分かったわ。その宝あなたの代わりに取ってきてあげるわ。
ついにこの時が来たか。今日はいい日だ。頼むぞ麦わら。
よーし。
Straw Hat. Woo!
やったー。
Are they up there?
あったか。
何やってんだあいつ。
ルフィー。あー、ルフィー。
It is there?
宝箱5個。
でかした。早く早く。
嫌だ。
何。
嫌だね。渡したくねえ。何バカなこと言ってんのよ。
Zoro
あんた
knows.
いい加減にしなさいよ。
いいんだ。もういいやつだな。ないんだろう、中身が。
ああ、全部空っぽだ。そんな。
宝の地図が存在する財宝にはよくあることなんだよ。それだけ宝探しは海賊にとって試練だってことさ。一生待とうが命を落とそうが宝に手が届かねえ。
まあくよくよすんなよおっさん。20年で俺たちが来てよかったよ。あと30年遅かったら死んでたかもな。
麦わら。
もう一回俺たちと海賊やろうぜ。
お前俺を誘ってくれるのか。今までこの姿を見てありがとうよ。ああ、麦わら、宝はなくなっても俺には他に守りたいもんがあるんだ。
守りたいもの
Aww.
で、俺は初めて自由になれた。
He chooses to stay there
こ
for
れ
his
からは本当に自分らしい人生を送れそうだ。実は俺箱入りがちょっぴり気に。
珍獣が真の仲間か。
まあおっさんが一番珍獣だけどな。
お前ならきっと手に入れる。あの伝説の宝ワンピースを。世界を。
You should buy the whole world. Aww, that was so sweet. I feel like there's a very important message in that for the series as a whole, for where this whole story is going. Like, even if you reach your dream at the end and it's empty, would you feel like that the 20 years that you've been chasing that goal only to come to it, and then you get there and it's not what you expected? You have to live your life in such a way that that 20 years wouldn't feel like a waste, because that happens. That was a fun episode. I was shocked by that guy. I didn't think, like, I was like, is he gonna be in the crew? Because I've seen a couple, like I've told you guys before. I knew Usopp and Nami was in the. I've seen them on images before. Zoro have never seen, so it was amazing to see him for the first time. And he was really early. He was the first one to join Luffy. And now it's time for the review. So before I start reading through my notes, I just want to make sure you guys know how this works and how I go about doing my reviews. For example, today I watched episode 17 and then I write down a few key notes, and then I watched episode 18 and wrote down a few key notes. Then I go back to my key notes of episode 17 and I see what I've written, and then I kind of just focus on each point and I write everything down that was going through my mind at that time, and if more things come to me as I'm writing, then I just keep writing. Then I go over to episode 18's notes and I do the same thing. But then I do my review and I read through my notes because I know not everyone is interested in reading. Some people want to just have the video playing in the background while they hear me talk. So what I do for the YouTube video is I read through my notes. But then sometimes as I read through my notes, more thoughts pop up, or I diverge, or I think of some kind of story that it relates to. So sometimes my notes don't always have the same things that my reviews have in. And then after I do my review and everything and I start editing the video, sometimes more thoughts come up and I edit those into the notes. So yeah, so there's really a lot, and to get the full experience you'd have to listen to my review and read my notes. But I would say whatever works easiest for you. If you prefer listening to someone, I think you'd get the gist of my thoughts by just listening to my review. If you're a kind of person that likes to read, then you'd get the gist of my thoughts if you read the notes. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't like reviews at all, you just want to see the reactions, then obviously just click out after the reaction part. So I like to think that there really is something for everyone when they want to watch my videos. Okay, so I really do want to get started with my notes because I wrote a lot for episode 17. A lot of thoughts came up. It was a really special episode. Actually, if you think about it, it was over like this. But then when I started writing my notes, I realized how much I had to say about the events that took place. So let's get started with those. This episode really wrapped up the battle very quickly. I understand why people usually watch a bunch of these episodes together, because they transition really well into each other, and this final part, especially the battle between Luffy versus Kuro, might as well have ended in episode 16. 17 could have just been them finalizing things in the town, Usopp saying goodbye to Kaya and the kids, discovering more of Usopp's backstory, and then finally Usopp joining Luffy's crew. Basically what I'm saying here is that I think it would have worked just as well if in the last episode they ended the fight and this episode was just the closing episode, leaving Syrup Village. I wonder why it's called Syrup Village. Do they make syrup? Do they export syrup? Is there any backstory there that manga readers know that I don't, because that would be kind of cool to know? The end of the battle between Kuro versus Luffy was paralleled really well, albeit a bit quick as previously mentioned, with Zoro and Usopp defeating Django. So there was like cut scenes from the one fight to the other fight, and I think it was done really well because it kept me really excited and like invested and like on the edge of my seat. It made for a very exciting final sequence, and it wasn't even 1 minute into the episode before my mouth was already hanging open by how great Luffy is. Not only his actions, but his words. So I remember starting the episode and it wasn't even 30 seconds into it. Obviously, I mean after the song and everything, 30 seconds into the new episode, I was already like reacting. Like, you know how sometimes it takes you like a little while to get into the story, but the episode took off like that and I was already like, wait, what, how, what? It was so great and so, engaging. I just realized as I was writing this that the Kuroneko crew ran away with Kuro. Him not actually being dead, I presume. I don't think Luffy killed him, but I don't know either. So that means there's always a chance of Kuro coming back for revenge, unless his crew killed him off, which I wouldn't be surprised about after all the things he said about them. Come to think of it, did anyone ever go to get Django before they set sail and ran away? He could still be in Syrup Village, I wouldn't know. Finally, in this episode, the stupid crew realizes that they're better off rooting for Luffy than Captain Kuro. Luffy, however, tells them they shouldn't be cheering for him, which I understand because for Luffy it is unforgivable to treat your nakama poorly. But Luffy, as far as I could tell, only really knows one type of pirate, the type that Shanks and his men were. For Luffy, I believe it was unnerving to see how poorly Kuro talked about his men and how little loyalty the crew really had for Kuro. Nami, however, sees this as the norm. So she says like, that's the standard type of pirate. That's how they usually are. Luffy and his small crew were willing to risk their lives for Usopp and his village because they were inspired by Usopp's bravery and self-sacrifice. From Luffy's perspective, however, Kuro's crew were not willing to die for their captain in the same way, but what Luffy doesn't realize, I think, is that the Kuroneko crew and many other pirates out there are not in it for the love of the sea, the love of adventure and companionship. There are pirates out there that are exactly like what Nami believes. Horrible people who do horrible things, for no one's benefit but their own. Not their own as in them and their crew, their own as individuals. Almost like an every man for himself kind of policy. Instead of living and fighting for each other, they live and fight only for themselves. Much like Buggy was when he stole the devil fruit and map for himself, leaving his crew behind. Remember in that episode where Buggy was shown how he got to eat the devil fruit? He was basically betraying his crew and just taking that for himself and running off with it. In this sense, Nami and Luffy, at the moment at least, have pretty opposite beliefs about what it means to be a pirate. Luffy's beliefs are idealistic, whereas Nami's beliefs are cynical. It's actually kind of poetic that they have found each other and will journey together, as I'm sure they will find out that not everything is always as it seems. They both have a lot to learn from each other, I think. In Nami's case, her cynical beliefs were challenged once she met Luffy and Zoro, pirates that went against her idea of what pirates are supposed to be. In Luffy's case, his idealistic beliefs were challenged by Kuro and his crew, pirates that proved to him not all men of the sea were as great as the ones who inspired him. Now, about Usopp and his decision to keep everything a secret from the townspeople. Although I understand his decision, I can't say that I agree with him. I don't think he needed to tell them to clear his own name, since it was clear in the episode that the town loved him despite his lying. But I'm just not the kind of person that believes ignorance is bliss. I believe the town would have been much better off knowing the truth and what could have happened so that they may be prepared for any such situation in the future. Usopp said that no one will ever come to do harm to that little town again. But how can he be so sure? I'm pretty sure no one would have expected that such a thing could happen in the first place. And yet it did. At least if they knew the truth, they could be more prepared in the future. Especially taking into account the fact that they were not sure Kuro was dead. Or was he sure? I don't know. And what about Django? Who's to say that they won't come back in a year or 2 or 3 to attack the town again and get revenge? They are pirates after all. Or does Usopp think those 3 kids and Nami will be able to protect the town by themselves? I don't know. I just don't think hiding the truth from the town is a good idea either way. Ignorance is not bliss. It may seem that way on the surface, but if I had a choice, I'd much rather know the truth. And I think if you asked each person from that town whether or not they would have wanted to know the truth of what had happened, they'd prefer knowing compared to being left in the dark. But since no one is going to tell them, they won't care that they don't know, because they don't even know there is something that happened that they don't know about. It's the same situation as, like, imagine you're dating someone and every other month they're cheating on you with someone. If you don't know about it, if you're ignorant, it doesn't bother you. But they do want to be with you. They just kind of, for that excitement, they have these affairs. And they're still a good person. Like, they still love you. And you still work well together. You're building a house together. You're building a family together. It's just every now and then they kind of want to cheat because they need that excitement. 90% of people would rather know and decide what you do from there than thinking, like, would you rather just be ignorant of that and just continue being happy under this false pretense? Maybe not 90% of people would choose to actually want to know, but I just don't see where hiding things. I just think that telling the truth in such a serious situation is always the best choice. But that's just me. I really loved seeing Kaya out and about. For me, it confirms my theory that Kurahadol was emotionally manipulating her from getting better. I think he kept reminding her of the tragedy to keep her in her depressed state so that she doesn't get strong enough, not just physically, but mentally, to realize his plans and overthrow it before it could be carried out. It's easier to fool someone that is mentally broken down compared to someone that is psychologically thriving and strong. I found it especially sweet to know that part of the reason why Usopp went to cheer Kaya up in the first place was because he was also without any parents. Maybe that wasn't even just part of the reason, maybe like that being the whole reason. The way Mary told Usopp's backstory was really great. I loved seeing flashbacks of little Usopp and learning why he was telling lies. Like the villagers said, Usopp's hopes are contained within his lies. It reminds me of one of my favorite sayings, fake it till you make it, which is a dangerous saying in and of itself because it can also be taken in the wrong way. But I don't want to talk about that part of the saying. I want to talk about how it can be utilized for good. Basically what it means is lie to yourself until it comes true. Do it so well that even your actions mirror your lies. For example, Usopp wouldn't just say pirates are coming, he would run through the town every morning screaming that pirates are on their way, exactly like he would do if it were really happening. He didn't just lie, he played the part too, and we found out that that's what he actually always wanted. He wanted pirates to come because he wanted it to be his dad coming to get him and his mom. Eventually, his conviction led to his dreams manifesting into real, tangible results. I strongly believe that this could be applied to our lives as well. If you wake up every morning and shout at the top of your lungs with a big smile on your face, I am a world famous artist and I get to meet amazing people every day who want to buy my art for thousands of dollars. And not only say it, but doing anything you can with the resources you have at your disposal to act as if it were true. I strongly believe that your desires will become a reality. Usopp didn't just run through the streets every single day, screaming that pirates are coming. He acted out that fantasy and put up a flag, practiced his slingshot skills, gathered together a crew, and played out that fantasy with whatever he could, even if it was just chasing dogs and chameleons. And now that I'm talking about this, I realize like Kaya and Usopp, what happened to them both is it's a similar experience. Not exactly in the same way, but they both ended up losing their parents. Usopp chose to cling to hope and cling to his dream, whereas Kaya had Kuro hovering over her, just reminding her of this tragedy of her parents' death, and on the surface it looked like she had everything, money, beauty, but she became depressed. So much so that she was bedridden, and it's because she didn't have any hope. And I think that Kuro was part of what kept her in the dark. So about Usopp and his lies and dreams. One would think it's easier when you're younger, of course, and you have all that free time to tell yourself these lies, or should I say, you have all this free time to dream big and also act out those dreams. Because once you get older, you start looking at what other people are doing and you are forced to face the truth or face reality. So you give up on your dreams and you start conforming to society's expectations. But if you have the tenacity to stick with your dreams or the lies you told yourself, you would realize that there is so much more you can do to make it a reality once you start growing up, because you do have more power once you grow up. As a child, you don't have real authority over your own life, but you have the time to dream big. Whereas when you grow up, you have the authority over your own life, but then you fool yourself into thinking that you can't dream anymore. You may have less time to dream, but you have so much more power to do. You just need to overcome the fears of what it means to actually stop dreaming and start living your dream. This is portrayed very beautifully in this episode, where we can see how hard it is for Usopp to leave behind not only a village that he loves and who loves him back, but also his 3 best friends, 3 kids that really look up to him, and also leave behind possibly the love of his life. His lies, his dreams, and his conviction brought him to an opportunity disguised as a challenge that led him to the start of realizing his dreams. I believe this is also what Luffy talked about when he compared Kuro's conviction with his own. Luffy said that there is no way someone like Kuro could beat him because Luffy's dream was much stronger than Kuro's. Personally, I believe it's not just that his conviction was stronger. I do believe that the purity of Luffy's character, the wholesomeness of his dreams and ideals added to his glorious victory over the villainous Captain Kuro. But that's just my opinion. Then I have 2 PSs at the end of my notes. I love that their ship was given to them by Kaya and was designed by Mary. I hope it remains with them for a long time, as it will always be a reminder of these early days of when they had all just mates and overcome such a fierce adversary together. And then PPS, I have said before that I was spoiled by many people in the comments on Usopp's lies. People have said, make sure you remember his lies because they all come true. And I assumed it meant something like, if he said once he saw a giant goldfish, probably one day there will be an episode with a giant goldfish. And although I wish I hadn't known that, or I'm kind of trying to forget it, I can't help but wonder, if he has always called himself Captain Usopp, does that mean he will one day have his own crew? Will he leave Luffy and then one day? Because Luffy is the captain. End of story. So if his lies always come true, will he one day be the captain of his own ship and his own crew? I really hope not. It's a sad thought already, but I don't think Luffy would see it that way. I think it would be amazing to work with someone only for them to one day have grown so much that they take off on their own in a way. Not all friends are meant to stay with us forever. Sometimes our paths cross for a while so we can learn and grow together and we can help each other through certain challenges in our lives, but that doesn't mean we will always be growing in the same direction. Those are my thoughts on episode 17. I know that maybe for some people who are listening to my review and don't really want to read the notes, it might be frustrating to see me reading my notes on the screen, but to be honest, I really think this is a better way to do my videos, because if I take the time to write my notes after watching an episode, it means that my review is so much more cohesive, whereas in a lot of my past reviews and other videos, you can see me kind of just talking about it freely, and I can diverge a lot. Like, it gets sometimes much longer than it needs to be, and although that's fun to listen to too, I think One Piece needs a little bit more structure than that, because it's not a 12 episode anime, it's not even a 54 episode anime. It has more than 800 episodes and it's not even done. So I would like to just add a little bit of structure to my videos, and making notes before I do my review really helps with that, really helps me get my points across more clearly and stick to the important things. But I don't want you guys to feel that I'm not being sincere. These are my thoughts, and although I'm reading them, it would take me much longer to get these videos onto YouTube if I had to print out my notes, learn them off by heart, and then just sit here and repeat them anyway, because that's what I was taught to do in school. You know, I don't know if you guys did oral presentations where you'd write an oral. I don't know what you call it in wherever you're from, but I remember in high school we'd have to do like a 5-minute talk, and then we'd be allowed to like glance at the cards, but the more you're not looking at the cards, the better it is. But these are still my honest thoughts. These are notes that I've written, and sometimes it's just easier for me to write, and when I see a word or a sentence doesn't make sense, I just go back and change it a bit. So it just helps me convey my thoughts more clearly. I'm just talking about this because I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, why isn't she looking at the camera or something like that. I just feel like it would make my reviews a little bit more valuable and not just me rambling about the episode. Okay, episode 18, You Are a Special Animal, Gaimon and His Bizarre Friends. I'm actually really happy that I didn't see the title of this episode, because it was more mysterious going onto the island, and I didn't know who was going to be there or what were these crazy animals, were they evil, was this dangerous? Because if I had read Gaimon and His Bizarre Friends, it would have set it up to be, you know, a more cute, I wouldn't say cute, but I wouldn't have had that mystery of like, what is this island, what are they gonna find, oh my gosh, these red eyes of these monsters, what? So I really feel like in this case, it hasn't been for a lot of episodes that I felt that the title was spoilery, and even this isn't really spoilery, but I do feel like it would have changed my experience of the episode at the start at least, so I'm glad that I did look away and took out the earphones when the title was on the screen. In this episode, Luffy and the others want to help Gaimon get his treasure. Luffy jumps up onto the cliff with his stretchy arms and stretchy arms. I don't know if I should say rubber arms or stretchy arms. And when he gets to the top, he says that he refuses to bring the treasure down to Gaimon. Gaimon realizes that Luffy is trying to spare him the pain of realizing that the treasure chests are empty, and he has spent the last 20 years of his life guarding nothing. Luffy, I believe, didn't want Gaimon to feel like those years were wasted. Gaimon was excited to finally be getting the treasure he had dreamed about for 20 years, And when Luffy said no, I like to think that Zoro was the first one to realize Luffy wasn't doing it out of spite or to be funny or anything. Nami and Usopp kind of got, based on the text and what they were saying, they kind of got frustrated, like, Luffy, get down here, like, what are you doing? This is this man's treasures. And Zoro kind of, he narrowed his eyes a bit. It's like he really trusts Luffy. After finding out that the treasure chests were empty, Gaimon said that it's something that happens often with treasures. Sometimes you reach them after the treasures have been taken. Searching for treasure is a trial for pirates. And the definition of trial is the following: a test of the performance, qualities, or suitability of someone or something. In a way, searching for treasures tests your suitability to be a pirate at all. Because even if you get nothing at the end of the day, being a pirate should be what motivates and drives you, not just finding the treasures. Yes, it's great to get treasure, but being a pirate should be about being a pirate. Being a pirate shouldn't be about getting treasure. At least this is what this episode has shown me. Gaimon mentions how for many pirates, they waste their whole life searching for treasure only to get nothing at the end. But I love how Luffy challenges that cynical outlook and says, at least we got here in the 20th year. If no one came for another 30 years, you could have wound up dead. There is always a bright side, just a small inkling of hope for someone to cling to and to think of whenever they start regretting or feeling down. Like Gaimon, I'm sure there will be moments that he regrets those 20 years, but it is easier to pull yourself out of that dark place with something to hold on to. Like, at least they came in the 20th year and now I'm free from that false ideal. I can live the rest of my life knowing that I'm here because I choose to be with these weird and wonderful creatures who have become my friends. So, for example, there will probably be times where Gaimon thinks about those 20 years and imagines, how did I waste 20 years of my life? And it's easy once you start taking hold of it, such a negative thought. It's really easy to spiral down into worse and worse feelings and just focus on that one bad thing. Yes, it's 20 years, but that's going to hold you back from the next 20 years that you could make so much better. And just holding on to something, some hopeful thoughts, like at least they came. At least I didn't die protecting those treasures. That could be what makes the next 20 years of his life the best years of his life. I think the message of this episode is really important to One Piece as a whole. You have to understand the things we learned with Gaimon in this episode to really enjoy the journey of this anime. I mean, it's more than 800 episodes long already. It's not just a story. It's literally a journey that we all undertake when we start watching One Piece. Lastly, I was happy to see that Nami isn't willing to steal from someone like Gaimon. Despite him being a pirate, she could sympathize with him and was willing to help him get his treasure. Yay! I have to say that these two episodes went by really, really fast, but I feel like they were both so meaningful. And as far as I know, I think I'm done with the Syrup Village arc. It says here the next arc is Barati, and it's episode 19 to 30. So that is 11 episodes. I'm going to do my best to try and break it up evenly. If I know there's 11 episodes, I could do like 3 at the start, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, and then 3 at the end, something like that. I've really been enjoying my pace with One Piece. It gives me enough time to enjoy the episodes and not feel like I'm rushing through them. And I love giving myself the time to write my notes and then take a little break, come back, do my review, and just for the next couple of days, let the episodes kind of sink in, and maybe even when I have free time, go back and rewatch one. But there's also a couple of other anime that I'm watching in my free time, excluding all the ones that I'm doing reactions to on YouTube, and then there's also exclusive reactions for Patreon. But the anime that I'm watching in my free time is, for example, if there's a really good One Piece episode, it'll be that. Or Bleach. I do watch not a lot of Bleach, but whenever I dry my hair, because that takes some time to dry and straighten my hair, I'll watch Bleach while doing that. And then in between videos, if a video is exporting, for example, it can take anything 30 minutes to 40 minutes. and then I watch some Pokemon. Sadly, I can't do anything on my laptop while something's exporting, so the only place I can watch Pokemon is on the TV, which has Showmax, and the only Pokemon that is on there is Pokemon Black and White. If I could, I'd start Pokemon from the very beginning. I really love it. It's very chilled. It's something that I can watch without having to think. I can just like enjoy and look at all the colorful Pokemon and the battles. It's really fun. And it's a nice break after focusing so much while editing. It's just kind of cool to just lie back and enjoy Pokemon battles, which someone has once told me makes them think of dog fights, and that totally takes it to a whole other place. But I'll continue to just see it as Pokemon battles and Pokemon like battling each other. That's how I'm gonna keep seeing it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching these 2 episodes with me. Thank you for hearing out my review up until here. I hope you guys enjoy the way I deliver them. I feel like I enjoy it, and it makes editing so much easier, which means it's more efficient, so that I can just end up doing more each week. With the more time I have, the more I can do, you know? That's it from my side. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye!